Dr. Seema Rao, were you the India's first commando? That's what your bio says, ma'am. Ma'am, डर तो लगता होगा overall. There is fear.
Obstacle is something that it's in your way, okay, and sometimes you need to be larger than the obstacle. And I heard a crack in my back. So at that time I asked myself, do I want to stop? When suddenly another soldier came and he whispered into my ear and he told me that my father had expired. So they received the news that my father had expired.
Dr. Seema Rao, were you the India's first commando? That's what your bio says, ma'am.
So I'm India's first woman commando trainer.
Commando trainer. You never commando yourself.
Now that's a question which is what I want to say, that I trained commandos.
You trained commandos. Wow, ma'am. And from past 25 years?
Yeah, for the past 25 years.
Wow. Kya baat hai. And you were training men, women, both?
Mostly men.
Oh, okay. I don't know anything about. The closest I could go to the army was NDA. When I got through NDA till the final round. Saying I got through is wrong. When I was, but I got rejected because of my knees joining. Kya bolte hain ma'am usko? Is there a word? My
it's
knees.
Either virus or valgus.
Valgus, yeah. So my knees were too closer and they said reject, so I couldn't make it. And then I tried during Sainik school days, in my 8th standard or 6th standard, then also again, the same medical issue, I got rejected. Nevertheless, ma'am, really humbled to have you on board today. You've been an inspiration for many women. But I'm really excited to know your story. 20 plus years, this is the only field you chose in life?
Yeah, so for 25 years of my life, I have been training the forces. I've been going to different force locations and training the commandos over there. And my subject is called close quarter battle. Close quarter battle is all about battle that happens when you are at close quarters, that is about 30 meters, 30 yards actually. And everything that transpires between you and the enemy soldier, that is called as close quarter battle. Oh. So it comprises of a lot of things, but basically to just give it to you in short, it's CQB.
So great. So commandos ka admission ho gaya hai. On day number 1, of course, they'll have the training. When you plug in, when experts like you plug in?
No, so the thing is that I am a guest trainer, so I'm a resource, external resource. So I happen to have certain credentials and qualifications, and I met the right kind of people who had an open mind. And that's how I was given an opportunity to train different forces. And then it went from one force to the other force. So I ended up training different forces, like the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, etc.
Wow, all of them.
Yeah.
Lovely. How come you came across this field?
Field?
Yeah.
You know what? A lot of times I think it's destiny. So life has, you think you're going to go in one path, but life just takes you elsewhere. So I think that's what happened, because I wanted to be a doctor, but eventually I ended up in commando training. So that's destiny, and one really can't change that. But I'm pleased with the fact that I did what I had to do, because for 25 years, I actually spent time in scorching hot deserts, dense jungles, ice-clad mountains, interacting with the most toughest of the Indian forces.
Yeah. Was it fun if you look back? Now you're 55, 56.
56. I won't call it fun. I'll say it was a very challenging yet very satisfying experience. Being with the very people who are defending the country. So I think in a way I feel very blessed to be in this vocation where I had the opportunity to do and to contribute to the country and to stand shoulder to shoulder with commandos, the toughest of them all, and do a little bit that I could do to contribute.
Wow, wow. Great. And ma'am, your dad was also a freedom fighter. I was going through a profile. He was a freedom fighter like...
Yeah, my father was a freedom fighter and quite a, acclaimed one, you can say. He was responsible for the liberation of Goa from the Portuguese. Mm-hmm. And so basically he hailed
That was
from
recent
Goa.
one. Yeah, acha.
From Goa, yeah. So he grew up there as a young lad. And then as he grew up, he was very inspired to fight against the Portuguese rule. And he did a lot of things. And so I think when he tell me these stories as a child, I got very impacted by those stories, and I thought that if life gave me an opportunity, I too should do something of that kind towards the country, towards some contribution. So because I think as a girl, you are very influenced by your dad. So that's where I think listening to his stories and listening to his courage, somewhere, there was this patriotism that was running through my veins as well. And the right opportunity came across my path. I had read a saying, intense desire creates its own talents and opportunities, which means that if you have a very strong desire to do something, then life actually opens itself to you. It makes you capable of it, and it gives you an opportunity. You catch that opportunity, grab that opportunity, and then life just changes for you, and life just unfolds for you. So I think that's exactly what happened to me. I had this deep desire, and then I kind of learned certain things, made myself strong, equipped myself with certain skills, and then the opportunity came across, and my life changed.
Wow. So it's like manifestation. You believed in it. So you studying you're done with your MBBS, that grown up lad. Now what were you doing when you were 22, 23?
So at that time, I think, rewind a little bit back, I think I was romancing my husband in college. And he was another young, hot-blooded doctor. And so I think we got
Which college
along
was
really
that?
well. KM.
Achha, KEM,
Yes,
Bombay
yes,
itself?
yes.
Oh, nice.
So I met him, and then we got along great. And he was into martial art. He was pursuing martial art at that time very passionately. So that's when I decided that I also wanted to learn, because I wanted
He's
to.
the Gangotri.
Yeah, whatever you call it, or the Shiva, whatever. So I think that's when I think I fell in love with him also because of the power that he exuded, and I wanted to get strong anyways as a child as well. So it was perfect, and we met, and then, in fact, I like to call him, my life partner. I don't really like to call him my husband, because we have been into this for a very long time. We've been married also for a long time, but we still relate to each other more like partners, not like a husband-wife thing. It's a very different kind of relating. It's like more of friends. And when I talk of friends, I mean that, you're helping each other to reach your maximum potential. You're there for each other when the other person needs a shoulder to cry on. So it's like 1 plus 1 is not 2, but 1 plus 1 is 11. So you actually maximize your power together so that you're able to manifest stronger.
Superb. I'm just curious, how do you get such kind of relationship these days where you can say you're a life partner, or you build it across, or you...
See, I'll tell you something. Anything in life requires work. We all understand to make a career, you have to work. You have to put in hours of hard work. But let me tell you, even when it comes to a relationship, it needs work, because people are constantly changing. Every 5 years, you're a different person because of the experiences that you have had, because of the experiences your partner has had. And then you need to retune yourself to each other, but still know that you need to work and get the relationship at its best every time.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing that we always believed in. It's fortunately we both believed in the same way, so that's why we could make the best of
You
our
guys don't
relating.
fight? I mean, both being martial
Yes,
arts.
of course we do fight. We do
Is it
have
like
arguments. No, no, we do have arguments, etc. But again, something here which is very interesting, which I'd like to tell young people there who are into a relationship or getting to know each other, that it's you have an opinion and your partner has another opinion. Now, instead of my opinion wins or yours wins, or rather me winning or you winning, it's about whose opinion is correct. And that is the correct opinion that needs to be taken, the correct decision that needs to be taken. So it's not about I win or you win, but it's about what is going to work for both of us. So that's how we always work it out. So it's about I would place my points, he would place his points, and then we decide which will work towards whatever goal we have, and then that's the path we take.
You've documented yourself as well. You're an author, also thought leader. You've written books on Encyclopedia of Close Combat, Commando, Manual of Combat. ये बहुत ही crazy field है, but still I want to visualize your life. So 20 years back, you were romanticizing your husband, and you finished your degree, and then maybe inspiration from your dad, and you said, "चल यार अभी Indian Army के साथ कुछ करते हैं."
No, so what happened is that we were in Mumbai, okay, and then we were settled and everything, and then finally we had certain personal reasons for which we had to go to Pune. And there in Pune, we happened to be walking close to the Army Institute of Physical Training, walking on the street where we saw people training inside. So we, got to speak, got a meeting with the commandant over there, and we had a talk with him, and he was impressed with our skills of unarmed combat. So he called us and asked us to give a demonstration to his force, and he was very impressed. Meanwhile, at the same time, we were also doing some very basic training for the police force, etc. So it was basically shuffling between Bombay and Pune. And then finally, the commissioner of police over here in Mumbai went to NSG. And I wrote to him saying that I would like to train the force, etc. And because he knew what was happening in Bombay and he knew that we were pretty good, he said yes, he invited us there. So that's how it just went from one.
So you're already doing this commando training? You're already doing
No, it started basically a long back with some modern physical training and some unarmed combat, etc.
Achha.
And then it kept getting better and better, improvising. We went to different institutions, and then that's how things just rolled.
Excellent, yeah, excellent. So what is are commandos tough to train as well? Because they are like strong-bodied, strong head. They must have had their own intense training.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
I think every force has its own training which keeps getting upgraded. So it's not like it doesn't stay stagnant. It's keeping on getting upgraded with all kinds of things. So commandos are surely extremely tough, extremely skilled in what they do. So like I said that, but this training that was there, which we were doing was different, and some of the forces found it good, useful. So that's how they invited us.
Understood. What's the goal of Army when he's assigned to you, and how long is the training like?
The training could be any day, anything from few days or maybe to a few weeks. And different forces require different things, so it depends on what they require. So that's how it used to work.
Okay. So
I don't train the forces much now. At the age of 50, I was recognized with the Nari Shakti award from the President, Honorable President.
Great.
And that was a moment of, it was a very proud moment for me, because it was an acknowledgement of the highest office in the country for the 25 years that I have put in.
Wow.
Though I have not been the type who's gone looking for awards and recognition, I would quietly go do my work and come back. And there were times when, we would be traveling from one location to another. So you had absolutely no time to unpack and put in another set of clothes. So it was the same bag that goes from one place to another place. So, but coming back to this, so I think that was a very satisfying and proud moment. So at 50, I decided that it was time to retire from actually going on field and training. But, and then kind of things just moved, and woman empowerment became a very major thing for me, which I'm very passionate about. So then I got many invites, and then TED Talks and motivational talks, etc., from corporate organizations, from various organizations. And somehow I could relate to to women, in the sense that as a woman I understand what they go through, the tribulations that they have, the challenges that they face at work. And they could relate to me because I also have had a life which has been full of obstacles, physical injuries, lots of things. But I believe an obstacle is something that it's in your way, okay? And sometimes you need to be larger than the obstacle. It's also one more way of looking at it is, if there's an obstacle, it's your response to the obstacle. Because in life, everybody faces obstacles in different ways. It could be a disease, it could be bankruptcy, anything. And these are like huge obstacles which are there in front of you. And you feel that you cannot overcome that obstacle. But it's your response, it's how you react to that obstacle, whether you get cowed down by it or you decide that you're going to put up a fight against it. That's what makes all the difference.
Superb. You had obstacles in life? Sab kuch smooth?
I had certain injuries which
Yeah, I know
have
you
been
got
very
broken.
big. Yes,
I know you
yes.
got what all parts of your body are like gone now?
Don't ask.
Ma'am, I have to check like what is intact.
Yeah, what is intact? Surely the heart is intact for
Yes,
sure.
yes.
The mind is intact for sure.
क्या बात?
So there was this
नहीं
one
सच्ची
time.
में बताओ मैम क्या क्या टूटा पड़ा है? I'm just
Yeah,
serious.
so I had this incident where I was doing a monkey rope, okay, where you know monkeys where you hold your hands and your legs are around and you're going from one place to another. So this was at the height of about 40 feet. So usually when I train the forces, so I'm the one who does the physical task first and then they follow suit. So I was doing that and for some reason the rope snapped and I came straight down and my back hit the wall of the building. And I heard a crack in my back because it was my vertebrae that had fractured.
No, it sounds only painful.
Yes, yes, yes. But I knew at that time one thing, that if I had left the rope, that's it. That would be the end of me because it was at a height. It would go straight crashing.
40
down
feet.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So I held on to the rope as tightly as I can until they came and they, rescued me, and then I was hospitalized. And it was a vertebral fracture, so it had to be operated. And it's like jumping from third floor, fourth floor, whatever. So then you know what happens when
You're
somebody
gone.
just jumps.
Yeah.
So I held on to the rope, okay, and then gradually as they pulled me down, etc. By then, of course, but I knew that if I leave the rope, that's it.
gone.
So I just held on till they could get me down. Then I was hospitalized, and so that was one major injury.
What part of your back was spinal
My
cord?
vertebrae fracture. So that was one time. So at that time I was hospitalized, and then at the same time my relatives, mother, etc. were concerned about the kind of work I was doing. So they would keep saying, "Ki enough, you're doing all kinds of things, dangerous things and all that." So at that time I asked myself, do I want to stop right here? Maybe it's enough, like I spent so many years in this. Maybe it's time to stop. But I didn't want to grow old to be 60, 70, whatever it is, and look at the mirror and see somebody who gave up. I always want to be somebody who did not give up, who keeps trying. It's better for somebody to keep trying, but not right for one to give up. So any person who is finding a task difficult, but he's trying to put his jaan into it, trying hard, he's still a winner. So that's what, when I look into the mirror, I want to look into my eyes, look into the person in the mirror and say, you had the courage. So I said, it's because of this I don't want to chicken out, I don't want to give up.
And you kept going.
I kept.
And mom kept crying. ये तो सुनने वाली नहीं.
I understand. See, parents have a lot of love for their kids. It's totally understandable. But somewhere they need to allow their children a little bit to go out into the world, because a child can't be all the while protected. You love the child, you are protecting the child. So in a way, I would talk to my mother and I would try to cajole her and tell her, look, I will be careful, I will take care, but I understand your love. So that's how it works.
This is the what age?
Throughout, I mean, there was always that fear, she had. I mean, no matter how grown up your kid gets,
You are always the kid.
The parent is always protective and watchful. So
Yeah, your mom sent you out of home at 18. You got married at 18. उसने बोला ये सीमा तुम जाओ.
no, it didn't happen that way. Actually, we wanted to get married and settle
You wanted
down.
to get married. You wanted to get out.
Yeah, we wanted to settle, start our life early. So that's why it was.
18 में कहाँ अकल होती है, ma'am, being honest.
It doesn't, I know, but this was the way we were. We decided to take charge of our life. So
Were people marrying at 18 at that time? It was normal? I'm just curious.
not really. Not really.
So you were like madly, deeply in love. तुमने बोला ये
We were
ही है.
deeply in love, but we were also very careful about the life we want to live. It was not a hasty or reckless decision that we were taking. We knew that we wanted to live together and we wanted to live our life together. So that brings me to a very interesting thing that life is like a cup of tea. So you are sharing that cup of tea with your partner. You're not drinking from the same cup. You have your cup and he has his cup. And you are relishing drinking your cup of tea with the person. And that's what is beautiful, that you are living your life. He is living his life, but you're still very much living your moment and sharing your moment with each other.
Wow. So your husband was helping you throughout your journey, ma'am. I mean, he's an achiever. लड़ाई नहीं होती तुम अच्छे जा रहे हो कि मैं अच्छे जा रही हूँ, because
My husband's never been the type who would, let's say sometimes men get jealous of a partner.
he's listening to this, ma'am.
I'm not talking about him. He need not be like that. I said, but sometimes maybe there are certain undercurrents between any two people. Why just call it a man and woman? It could be between woman and woman. It could be between sisters.
Yeah.
It could be between brothers. But that's something that I've been fortunate that he's not been like that. So in fact, he's been, to give you an example, sometimes I'm walking on the street with him and some person will come and say, oh, ma'am, you're Dr. Seema Rao. So I'm like, yes. Can I have a selfie with you? And then, yeah. So my husband will just move outside there and he'll be standing and selfie me. And absolutely nothing. There is nothing negative I've ever seen. So he's a very, very positive man, actually. And I think, like, both of us have been able to, discover our life and reach our maximum potential, I think, because of this attitude. Where I help, he helps me, I help him. And that's how both of us are going higher and higher.
Ma'am, there's one important character which is not spoken. You're always saying my mom, my husband. There's one more character in women's life, Sasu Ma.
Yes.
What's with your सासू माँ? ये लड़की combat fighter करने जा रही है, army को train कर रही है, all the forces of the world and spending a lot of time. तो how was she during your journey?
So in the beginning, when I got married, my mother-in-law had certain fixations about how a woman should be.
Yeah.
Because that was also during those times, Now times are different when women are so independent and everything. But at that time, a woman was supposed to be, okay, handling work, but that's not very important. The house is important, the family is important, and, housewifely duties are important. So she believed in that. And I was very contrasting to that belief of hers, because I would be kicking, I would be punching, I would be going for a run to chapati in the morning. I'd be sitting with my husband discussing things. And also it was like, what the hell is happening? So we had certain ideological differences.
You had?
We did, of course. But once again, my husband was very supportive. He said, look, if this is the way she wants to lead her life, let her. She's not coming in your way. So what's your problem? This is what he would tell his mother. And no doubt they were also very close. My husband and his mother were very close. So eventually, I think that got too much and we had to move out of the house.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
This is in...
way back in the 90s.
1996.
A little, yeah, somewhere.
90s, okay.
Yeah, 90s. So we left the house and all that, and then again after a few years we patched up, and you know how things are between families. Yeah. So we patched up and everything, and then my father-in-law expired, and my mother-in-law would live with us. So she was having cardiac failure.
Oh.
So she had had 2 heart attacks, and she was in a state called cardiac failure, where a person is very restless, very breathless all the while. So she was constantly in that state. And so at that time, one of the training assignments was a very important training assignment. So I knew that my husband wanted to go for it, but he kept saying, it's okay, one of us has to go, you go, like. But I knew deep in his heart that he wanted to. So I said, you go ahead with this and I'll hang on and be with her. Because at that time, I think she had got a very massive heart attack. So she was like in bed and very bad. So he went for the assignment and I was back here. I would be nursing her. I would be taking care of her, catering to her days, nights as well. And at that time, there was this one moment which is very touching. When I think of it now, also I'm extremely touched. One day she held my hand and she said that, if there is another life, I would want you to be born as my daughter.
Wow.
And that was a very not sad, I don't know how to call that moment. It was a moment when we actually saw eye to eye. In that moment, she had recognized me and my drive for living the way I want to, and still appreciating that I am there for her. And everything, all the negativity or the angst that was there over the years had just vanished. So it was very beautiful, because those hours that were there, we related well, and I played the old Hindi songs which she liked hearing, just to kind of pacify her, calm her mind and all that. And then my husband came back, and there's a moment when she was dying, okay, and her pulse was going down. She was at home with us. And my husband said, he's from the south, so it's Amma. So he said, Amma, give me a kiss on my cheek. One last kiss. And he brought his cheek close to her mouth, and she was like almost gone. She pursed her lips like that. And then he said, Amma, Seema is here. Give her a kiss on the cheek as well. And we knew that she's almost going, so like there's no chance of her responding. So I held my cheek close to her as well. And she pursed her lips again. And then when that moment of death, we have this thing that death is not something that needs to be feared. It's as important as life. So when a person is dying, he doesn't really want to have people around who cry, who mourn. But he wants to have people around who are happy and kind of saying that you did great with your life. So when she died, we actually clapped and said, we love you and you've done great with your life, and we will always remember you.
Wow.
And I still remember when she died, and the expression on her face when she was completely gone was that of peace. So the memories of that are there in my mind, and I don't think I'll ever forget that. But it was a perfect relating. Like I said, relating is very important. Perfect relating, closure on all the negative things that had happened in life. And
Oh yeah, it's like journey complete, isn't it?
It's perfect. So I think that's very important. And sometimes as children, we do not do that with our parents. And we leave things, it's like strings which are left untied. So it's very important to, like when my father, during his life, he got bad somewhere in between. He got Parkinson's, and he was just like a vegetable. Like all his life, he had been so active. He apart from being a freedom fighter, he was also a PhD in philosophy, and he was a renowned philosopher as well.
Oh wow.
Yes, he traveled the world. He wrote books on philosophy, humanities, social sciences, and all that. So when he grew old, that time I would go and see him and all, and I would always hold his hand. And that was not something that we would do as kids. Means as kids, what I'm trying to say is the customs in the house. I had realized that being human is so much important. So I would hold his hand, I would talk to him, hug him, kiss him on the cheek and say, I love you. I would speak to him. And I think somewhere that's so important. As our old parents, we forget that at one time when they were there for us, and now that we are doing our thing and careers and everything, and they're just there. So I think this is wrong. I think we need to reach out to our parents to be there for them like they were there for us.
So your ma'am role model was dad, and then you got right hands, right husband.
Yeah.
Assuming he's still right.
He's still right. He's always the right, yeah.
He's always the right.
He's always Mr. Right. For
Yeah, and of course your mother-in-law. You've been lucky with. Do you think?
No, no. I don't think it's luck. See, a lot of people are born in the right conditions. But there are some people who are not born in the right conditions. But luck is something, like in the forces, there is a saying, luck favors the prepared.
Yeah.
Which I think is very important. So I would say that if one is equipped with skills and the right way to think, the right way to speak, to communicate, like there's a lot of skills, life skills if we talk of that, then you have a greater chances of winning or anything else. So luck is something, well, maybe it's there, but you can tilt it. If you have bad luck, you can tilt it if you have the correct attributes, you have the correct approach. You can tilt life as well.
I have coined a term on my own. I call it it's a quote. So luck is a term which is coined by losers who could not work hard when it was required the most.
Yes.
वही बात करेंगे, मैं नहीं था, मैं नहीं, अरे तो बेस्ट तो दे अपना.
Correct.
और जो नॉर्मल अच्छा इंसान है वो लक पे कभी डालेगा ही नहीं, बोलेगा हाँ हो गया यार, मतलब ठीक है अपना बेस्ट किया, आगे मूव करेगा. और बाकी वो लक को कोसता रहेगा, उसकी लाइफ निकल जाएगी अपने में.
Luck is a very easy excuse.
It's the first excuse.
Correct. That I have bad luck.
I say to my students as well, इतनी मेहनत करो कि एंड में you give it on भगवान, वो ही नहीं चाहता था.
Yeah. At the same time, I also feel that people who are born lucky, it's fine. That's the way that the world is.
Whatever they touch becomes gold.
There is no need to envy somebody who's lucky. Because envy, jealousy are all so many negative emotions.
Yeah.
And I think if one just wastes his time getting envious and jealous, instead use that time to make your life good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
पर वो इमोशन है, ह्यूमन इमोशन है, रहेगा वो तो मैम. Evil, enemy, jealousy, calm,
but
क्रोध,
mind, no? I believe that the mind has a certain capacity. So if we use the mind wasting its resource, like wasting the resource for negative things, then how can we use the same mental energy towards positive things, towards reaching where you want to reach? It's a waste of energy. So I have an academy in Andheri West where it's a combat and fitness academy. So it's meant for the corporates. It's very high end. It's a state-of-the-art academy, and the stakes are high, very high. But it's about dealing with combat, so men and women coming to learn combat. But it's also, a lot of it is about the mind. Because we are also into strengthening the mind, and also into a certain part of it into the spiritual aspect of also being in life. So that's where, like you're talking about mentoring, so that's where a lot of these people, young adults, they are all in their 30s, early 40s, etc., who are coming to train. So there are certain, courses that they do with us. But it's also there's also a meditation and mind part also, which I train them in. To be able to handle the mind, like there are so many, I always say that the mind is made of so many cobwebs. And things go wrong and we just push it to the back of our minds, and we don't address a problem. Every problem has to be addressed. It's like a file. So there are so many files open in your mind. But you have to take a file, address it, close it, push it out. And that's when you are closer to being happy, peaceful, a cool individual.
Does this also mean faster decision making?
That would be very different. I'm talking of spiritual would be one thing, and mental. Mental is all the qualities. When you're talking of faster decision making or communication with people, etc. Those are the qualities that will help us to win people, to win our goals, etc. But I'm also talking of other aspects of the mind, things which make a mind crack. So when people get depressed, when people get crazy in their head, what is it? It's because they have not addressed certain problems. And those problems, because they were left unaddressed, they're still there, collecting. And then finally it just manifests and person goes crazy.
Wow. So, इसी पे मतलब I was just thinking like if your decision making is faster, okay, yes, no, close, move next. Yes, no, close the files.
Yeah, decision making again is a process of analyzing something very well, where you sit and you analyze that if I do this, what are the pros and what are the cons of anything. And then so it's basically objectively analyzing like a mathematical problem and then deriving from that. Yeah.
I'm going back to our discussion. How much is it mental when it comes to the armed forces? When you see all these guys, strong built guys, buffy chest, and then they are on the ground fighting, and we see all them, we get inspired by them. जब आप इनको मिलते हैं, इनकी training करते हैं, how much is it mental strength? How much is it physical strength?
So I'll give you my opinion of it.
Sure.
I think when people join the forces, they are in a way, they know what they're signing up for. So that needs a lot of mental strength anyways, to know that you are going out there to defend the country and things can go wrong as well. So that's a different kind of toughness, because they are prepared for whatever happens. It's not necessarily everything is not just going to be calm. When things go rough, that time they are going to be facing, war, battle, whatever it is, and they know what they're signing up. So that I believe that is strength. So I think that is obviously there.
Yeah. And your training, when you go and train them, is it physical like 90%, or you have a 10%
It's mostly physical. It's mostly
physical.
about shooting. It's about hand-to-hand combat. It's about team-on-team tactics.
I'm just thinking, उसने ऐसे मारा तो उसको पकड़ के, and then he rotated and it falls down. That's how they show in the movies. Is it like the movies on the ground, ma'am? When the war would happen? I'm just curious.
I don't want to talk about what they show in the movies, okay? But yeah, hand-to-hand combat is about what you do, how do you defend yourself when you're in a situation. It's about, sometimes it's about weapon to hand, where you have a weapon. So this is in battle. We are talking of actual battle, where either you're shooting the enemy or the enemy is shooting you. Or finally, sometimes maybe your rounds in your weapon are gone, they're over. Now, but you still have your weapon, and now how you can use the rifle butt or other parts of the weapon and actually still maim, handicap, or kill the enemy. So it's very different. It's a very vast subject, very hard to describe or talk about. So
in these days when we talk about women's security, do you think iska level -1 could be helpful for women as well if they do a 1 year of training?
Now we're changing the topic to talking about self-defense for women.
Yeah.
I think, yes, a woman, if she learns how to defend herself, not just defend, but even offend, okay, she surely is a different kind of person, because she's able to handle her own life. She's able to, fear is not going to be much, a very big part of her, because she knows how to take care of herself. She doesn't have to rely on anybody else to take care of herself. So there are many women in corporates who live alone in Bombay, and they sign up for my course, and they're good. They're getting stronger every day.
Ma'am, you had so many injuries in life while you were doing it. Like every year, every 2 years?
Hard to say, but some were major injuries, some were fractures of the bone, etc., which I had to deal with. A head injury. So I was at a forces location, and I was taking a grappling session.
Okay.
Grappling is all about like wrestling.
Okay.
Kusti, you can say. So I took the session, and it was almost time to end and all, and so we were kind of winding up, when suddenly another soldier came and he whispered into my ear, and he told me that my father had expired. So they received the news that my father had expired. So obviously I was moved by the news, and so I decided ki, okay, since it's time to wind up, I'll quickly wind up so that I can move out back into the room and then take charge of my emotions. But at that time, one of the trainees said that, madam, I would like you to check certain of my moves, etc., certain things if I'm doing right. So I said, okay. So I went grappling with him and all, and I showed him, corrected him. Another second chap said, ma'am, even correct my so-and-so technique. So usko bhi I taught him. Then there was a third chap who said कि हमें आपसे कुश्ती करनी है, तो let me see, like. So now it sounded like there was a little bit of a problem that he had, some underlying emotion there. It was a challenge. So I said, okay. So we started grappling and doing all kinds of things. And maybe I think I had lost my focus because of my the news of my father's death. So he lifted me up and he threw me down on the ground. And usually when you're thrown, there's something called as break fall and all, where you know how to fall, you know how to do things. But I think I was just too lost with things. I landed down straight on my head, and I was out cold, unconscious, knocked out. And the next thing I see is I'm in a hospital and with a head injury and complete amnesia. I couldn't remember what, where, who I am, etc. Exactly like they show in the movies.
मैं कहाँ हूँ?
Yes, मैं कहाँ हूँ? So, it's a terrible thing to have your memory deleted from your mind is really terrible. It's like you do not know. It's like your individuality is gone. Who am I? What are my feelings? Where do I live? Who are my people? It's like everything erased, an erase button. So at that time, I was like wondering, now what the hell am I doing? So frankly, I couldn't even mourn my father's death because of this incident. So, but anyways, then eventually the amnesia went off. It took some months, and then everything came back.
You could reach during the funerals? No.
No.
Oh shit.
No, that's what I'm saying. So, but one thing was that during his life, I had a very good interaction with him. I'd meet him often, talk to him, exchange and I love you, all that love emotions, wo sab tha. So it's not that I felt totally guilty or anything, because sometimes you feel you can be guilt-ridden. Yeah, for the rest of your life, but I was not guilt-ridden. And during his life, he was always very happy with what I was doing, and that I was contributing to he would always have that appreciative pat on the back he would give me. So it was a very fulfilled relation anyways. So
where is this guy who actually hurt you?
No, that's okay.
Is he still there?
He must be there. But that's okay. That's okay.
Did he say sorry after that?
I don't know. I was too knocked out anyways.
No, after that, when you're done, no?
No. I moved out from there and all, so where would I? But that's okay. That's nothing. I don't hold any grudges against anyone in life.
Ma'am, दुख दर्द तो दिए हैं आपके प्रोफेशन ने आपको, ये तो we have to agree. You got a lot of dukhs and dards and peedas. This, of course, you had to have it fun when you look back. But this is the.
But there's something that I was okay with. It's a.
टूटी हड्डी बैक टूट रही है, वर्टिब्रे टूट रही, कोई गल नहीं.
नहीं, see, when you look back at life, if you look back thinking कि it's fine, I'm okay with the ups and the downs of life, then what else can be there? So I'm okay with the negative things, because every profession comes with its perks and with its little bit of negative things.
Yeah.
Like how you have celebrities, okay? They are celebrities, but then sometimes they also go through a negative
depression
stuff.
or other things,
like
anxiety.
people what do you call it? like bad publicity.
Trolling,
Trolling, yes.
yeah, of course.
So, but then that's part of the whole thing.
But here
yeah,
it's physical, ma'am, and it's gonna hit you. So
No, but I never looked at myself as someone who is weak. I always thought I'm strong, and if I have to get stronger, then well, there is going to be some amount of strain on my body where I'm going to push my body, and then something's going to break, or when I'm going to be fighting with someone, sparring with somebody, there is going to be some, here and there some injuries, but that's fine. That's my decision, a decision I have made, so I'm okay with it both ways.
when do you break your first bone?
When?
Yeah.
I don't even remember. I mean, it's like a constant.
How many times you must have broken?
Broke
You even
several
count?
things, yeah.
Yeah,
Wrists
whoa.
and shins and this and that. So, like now I don't even count. Where's the question of counting, anyways?
This is experience. I think after 3-4 bone cracking, you're like, हाँ, करते कुछ हो जाएगा तो देखी जाएगी.
Yeah,
It's
because
like
that doesn't matter.
So many
Yeah,
times.
because you're looking at the larger picture. That if you have to get strong, then well, this is part of the whole thing.
मैम डर तो लगता होगा ओवरऑल देयर इज फियर कल यहाँ टूट जाना है कल यहाँ टूट जाना है आई गो टू जिम समटाइम आई डू योगा समटाइम when I do yoga with a rope or something I feel like fearful ज़्यादा stress ना हो जाए when I'm putting my leg in stretching with a band as well or if I'm doing like 15 kgs jumble I'm like it's too much. So how do you guys train to beat fear to this combat training and for you as well in personal life you are fearless. The way you entered the room, the way you're talking, your own persona is crazy, ma'am. How do you come to that?
So we're talking about fear as an emotion. Everybody is afraid. Let me tell you, everybody. There's not a single person who's not afraid of something or the other. But fear has to be understood, and fear has to be conquered. It's like either you allow fear to control you or you control your fear. I have been somebody who's been afraid of a lot of things. I've been afraid of confrontation, I've been afraid of water, heights, name it, and the fear was there. But I decided that I didn't want to live afraid. I wanted to confront my fears, I wanted to overcome them. So it was a very systematic approach by means of which I got rid of my fear. In fact, when you talk of fear of confrontation, I remember back then when I was just about 18 years old, there was an incident on the street where I was extremely afraid, but I could manage to channelize that fear and overcome, the assailant who was there. And that was actually like a change in my personality after that.
Wow. So now do you have any fear left? एक आधा कुछ तो रह गया होगा मैम something.
There will be fears. Like I said, there will always be fears. There will be fear of death. There will be fear of suffering. There will be fear of disease, fear of losing a dear one. These are all the fears that we all have in our minds.
Yeah.
So we need to approach each of these things.
I was reading a quote on a fear, a saying, a fear of death. So it says you should not fear death. Because death is going to come just once, okay? And when it's going to come, you not even come to know. Like, oh, boom, you off. You should be fearful of life. You live life every bloody day. And you be worried about what the hell you're going to be doing today evening.
Yeah.
जो मौत आनी पता नहीं 72 पे आनी है 92 पे आनी है 102 पे आनी है कि you want to be the most lived के कल सुबह उठना नहीं है. You don't know that. And you want to think about it every day, idiot. Think about bloody today and live in the present. That's what they say it as well.
Yeah, but man is always afraid of the unknown.
Yeah.
And that's why when you talk of death, it's the unknown. It's something that you don't know.
किधर जाना है, क्या होना है,
कब, कहाँ, all that. So that is why one is afraid.
How old do you think you're gonna live?
Make it to? I can't say, but considering the fact that my parents have lived till 80 and 90 and all that, so maybe somewhere an average of
80,
that,
90.
or else it could be anything else which could just happen,
Damn, with the new medications coming in, we're going to go
No,
for
it could be an accident on the street, it could be anything.
Oh, गंदी बातें नहीं करते मैम.
Things happen, no? So one has to be able to face.
Yeah.
Okay, होता है ऐसे. So
Accident तो नहीं मैम, उससे तो मुझे भी डर लगता है. Fear, okay, lovely.
So like I said, that fear, so I'd like to narrate an incident about fear where it comes to the fear of water. that I had. So I was extremely scared of water, and since childhood my mother would keep saying, don't go near the water, don't go near the waves. You'd go on a beach and you want to even just put your feet in the water, she'd be, no, take care, take care. So I think somewhere fear is learnt also, you know. So not blaming anybody, but it's fear is learnt. If you just see somebody scared also, you can get scared of the same thing. So anyway, so I was afraid of water, and I decided that I'm going to do something about that. So I decided the best thing would be to go underneath, so scuba diving. So I, enrolled for this course, and
Paddy one. Yeah.
and I went for the paddy
Which one?
course.
Open water?
Yeah.
Nice.
And I went for that, and in the beginning they take you in the swimming pool and they teach you all the maneuvers. All that is fine. So I was okay, I'm good. Then we went out to the seas, you know. And then everybody jumped when the scuba suits, BCD, ये वो सब लेके they jumped, and I was sitting, and it was time for me to jump, and I looked at the water and I was like, I'm not jumping. I can't. So I just sat in one place, and the boat was empty, and only one instructor was there, and he's like, what happened? You don't want to jump? I said no. So he was a foreigner who was there, and he was the only one there, and everyone else was, they had disappeared under the water. So he said, okay, no problem and all, you sit. So the edge of the boat, so I sat on top of that like that, and I was in my suit, BCD, everything. And he started talking to me about life and things like that. So I'm talking, this, that, and he probably registered it slowly, she's relaxed now. And as I relaxed, he lifted my legs and he just pushed me like this, and I went backwards into the water. And as I went inside, and then I came up like that and all, and I was like petrified, in the water just engulfing me all over and all. And then I realized that there was a moment when the switch happened. I said, this is it, like now I'm in the water, and what else can I do? I've got to survive it. So I just calmed my nerves, and then I just deflated my suit, and as I sunk deeper and deeper in, what I saw below was magnificent. I saw different color fish, rocks, and this and everything. And it was actually like fear had just dissolved into the water, and I was seeing a different world there down there. Like we are used to our world where you see traffic and this and that and all the malls and the kind of fun and the people. But this is something else. So when I did that, I was like, fear was gone. And at that time I realized that fear is something that has to be understood. And when you understand how to overcome it and to not allow it to conquer you, to very rationally see things, then you're not afraid anymore.
One advice which I give it to everybody is if you are into adventure or generally you want to live life, 3 दिन पानी के नीचे भी रह के आओ.
Yeah.
Super, ma'am. Let's go back to your family life. So your mother-in-law, who used to hate you in the start, right? You didn't use the word hate, but yeah, you had a not so. You're not on the common terms. Let's put it this way.
She had more issues to me than I had to her. Yeah, seriously. I just was living my life differently, but she wanted me to conform.
तुम 18 years old की लड़की बोल रही हो मुझे martial art करना है, मुझे ये करना है. She would have problem only na in 90s. Come on, ma'am. What is it?
You can never justify something that's wrong.
Of course, you're running on the Juhu.
Wrong is wrong.
What are you? You're running on the Juhu beach every day in the morning, and you're 18.
Not Juhu beach, Chowpatty.
Chowpatty, sorry. Girgaon Chowpatty. Yeah.
No, but I was doing the duties of the house, but not much. But I have a life of my own, and I believe every person has a life of their own. I believe every woman has a life of her own. Mind you, every woman has a life which is not meant only for being in the kitchen, cooking, taking care of kids,
but
taking care
of
family. She can do that. Okay, I'm not denying that. But she has to have her own life, her own career, her own achievements. This is something that I'm a very strong
ardent believer,
yeah.
supporter.
And a lot of women, when I'm in corporate organizations talking about women and stuff and all, they all come to me and they say, yes, you're right, and my life was blah blah blah. They'll tsunami their story and say, but now that I've heard this, I'm going to get back my life and all that, which I think is just about being human. Let's
Yeah.
not call it man and woman. Every human being has a right to live his life the way he wants to do everything that he wants to do in that one life. Make
Superb.
money, enjoy, travel, succeed in your work, career, everything. That's a fulfilled life.
Excellent.
See, I think for every mother-in-law, she is a mother of a son. And now the daughter-in-law comes into his life, into her life. Now it's obvious that the mother-in-law is going to be a little insecure because she's loved her son for so many years. And now she has to kind of share her son's love with another young woman. So when that would happen, I mean, I knew even at that age, I had this little bit of sense that, I mean, my husband was very close to her for so many years, you know, they were,
Yeah, mom.
it was a very different, they were really close. So I think as daughter-in-laws, every woman should understand this part of her mother-in-law. And she should, in a way, understand the insecurity felt by her mother-in-law and go out of her way to make the mother-in-law understand that the son, who's her husband, is very much still your son. He's not forgotten his love for you, and probably encourage your husband to still have the same relating with his mother, to do things for her, to buy things for her, everything that he did before he met you. He should do those things. Now that's when you as a daughter-in-law are going to try to strike a beautiful relationship with your mother-in-law, and understanding in a way, as a woman, you need to understand that, okay, she's going through certain insecurity and that you are not going to be somebody who's going to take her son away from her.
तो बहू को समझना चाहिए कि वो बेटा भी है मम्मा का.
Yeah. And mother-in-law in a way should understand that the daughter-in-law is a new person in the family. Now she's come from another household and she's entering into this. So you got to make her feel at home. You got to make her feel like a friend. And you got to understand that because she's young, she's got her whole life ahead of her. Maybe encourage her to live her life and her career. Now this is when both are seeing each other in the correct light.
Excellent. When was it difficult in the morning you go and train the combat, you go with the Indian Army, then Indian Air Force, or maybe Navy, or whoever you worked with, right? And वहाँ पे we are all aggressive. इधर से घुमा के वहाँ पटकाया, इसको उठा के वहाँ मारा, ये grapple कर रहे हैं, लड़ाई कर रहे हैं, I'm taking your words. And घर आके you are a nice, happy-go-lucky women. Was it like a total role change? From morning you are like 100% aggressive to, was it sometimes that aggression also come back home with people who are in army or related to army?
No, aggression is an emotion that has to be exhibited when required. It's also an energy. So you use aggression only when required. When not required, you can just be yourself. Just be your normal, cool, whatever self you are. So that's how it is. Because to be aggressive also it's a quality. Why waste it just like that?
Wow.
Use your aggression towards yourself within. If you're afraid of something, use your aggression to overcome that fear. If you want to, for example, a person who's maybe overweight wants to lose weight. Now use the aggression towards losing weight. Use all your aggression, all your josh towards losing weight.
Ma'am, in your entire journey of things, when they say, I've seen many from the University of Instagram and WhatsApp, I'm telling you, like they say it's 80% food and only 20% workout, which is the journey of fitness. मुझे ये विश्वास नहीं होता है. ये 80-20 rule सही है क्या मैम when it comes to fitness?
Let me say that one, fitness is something that is very overall. Okay,
Yeah.
like we all know that the parameters of fitness are many. There's cardio fitness, there's muscular strength, muscular endurance, cardio endurance, flexibility, all these are different aspects of fitness. So I think one should touch on everything. So for instance, if you're talking of flexibility, then yoga would be very good, or any kind of thing that stretches your body. Where it comes to cardio, endurance, and strength, running, either a sprint or a long distance run or whatever. Muscular strength, well, you're talking of the gym or any activity that actually places a load on your muscle. So, but apart from that, I think also it's not just diet. It's also about sleeping. Because when we sleep, there's a growth hormone that is, secreted. And largely, the growth hormone is, my facts may not be that right, but kids that are growing up, if you, make them eat early and then they sleep for long hours, 12 hours. So the amount of sleep hours are more, and the gap between the eating, the previous meal and the next meal, if that gap is longer, then they grow better. So this is, because of the growth hormone. So what I'm trying to say is that for adults, I think apart from diet, apart from food, okay, I mean, there are so many things which talk of protein and this and that. I mean, there's enough knowledge on all that. But I think sleep is a very important factor too.
Superb, ma'am. One question which I asked everybody, all my podcast guests. Let's go back, reverse in the time in history. What's one advice you meet your younger selves, Seema again,
Okay.
and she's not doctor, or maybe she's studying third year, second year, and she's just ready to come into the big bad corporate world and start living her life more than, I think, touching around 35-40 years back. What advice would you like to give to your younger self? यार ये पक्का करना, ये और करना, या ये मत करना.
When I talk of fear, I've had so many fears. So I'd probably tell myself that don't be so afraid, okay? But take on life with some more courage. Though eventually I did that. I did confront all my fears. But at that time, it appeared so difficult. And I had to put in so much of energy towards just trying to be a different me, a different version of myself. So I probably tell myself, ki relax, just go ahead, confront them, but somewhere, be more calm. Understand that everybody is afraid. I realized this later, that fear is a part of everybody. Only people don't talk about it. They just don't do certain things because of fear. So I realized that fear is a part, but then nobody speaks about it. People should be saying, I'm afraid. Then okay, theek hai, everybody has their fears. So I also am fine. I'm not
abnormal.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that is what I'd probably
be a little bit more fearless.
A little bit more fearless, because eventually.
चलते फिरते हो भी आप, हार्ट चल रहा है, बोन्स ब्रोकन है, इससे ज़्यादा fearless तो I don't know, you would have gone to the Mars. I don't know, but I think
Earth is good.
Yeah, what is good? Earth is good, of course. Earth is good. And my last question is: have you ever thought about what's our goal of life? Have you thought about अपनी जिंदगी में goal क्या है? धरती पे आए हैं हम लोग.
Yes.
All those so-called intellectual human beings.
Yes.
क्या है मैम goal?
I think the goal of life is to live your moment well, your present moment, because nobody knows what the next moment is going to be like. So one is don't go into the future, and don't look at the past and regret anything of your past. Be in your moment, enjoy your moment, whoever's in your moment. Relish the conversation, the means, you know what, there's a thing called mindfulness. Mindfulness is about, the exact meaning is, when somebody is talking to you, you are actually listening to the conversation, you are aware of where you are, and you're also listening and looking at the person whom you're talking to. So you're being completely focused in a way, but unfocused. When I say that, I mean you are in the moment and you're also aware of everything around you. So this kind of mindfulness is very important. And the goal is, yes, during the course of life, make money, be healthy, be fit, work on your mind. Your mind should also be worked on. I believe a lot of us work out only the body, but nobody looks and dwells into the mind and tries to make the mind happier. So happiness and peace of mind being the most important. This is what I think. And your goals will keep changing. So at 20 you have one goal, at 30 you have one goal. So life is made of many goals, big and small. So enjoy, relish those goals. But again, the journey is more important than the destination. So enjoy the journey as well. It's not like, okay, I have to achieve this, and then you're working hard, and then finally when you get that, and you suddenly realize, oh, it was this. Yeah, but then you rather enjoy the whole journey to reach there.
Yeah.
And that is what adds so much of color to your life.
It's like trekking. So I love trekking. I'm being in Bombay for 15 years. So you keep on walking. Chalo, सुबह 4 बजे से trek कर रहे हैं. When you reach there, you're like, बस यही है, नीचे चलो.
Yeah.
So people don't enjoy the journey. They just think about the goal. They think about the goal. वो तो कृष्ण ने भी बोल दिया था ना कि फल की चिंता मत करो, कर्म करते जाओ. उसको पता है फल मिलने के बाद भी खुशी नहीं है. It's very momentary. Once you've arrived,
That's called insubstantiality. That when you achieve, you work for something, and then finally when you get it, you're happy just for a day or two, and then you're back to, everything's back to normal. So that's what it means, that everything that you try so hard for, when you finally get it, it's like, okay, nice, you're happy just for a day, two, and then that's it.
Oh yeah, what next?
Yeah.
All right, ma'am, it was pleasure meeting you. It was such a candid conversation. Thank you so much for your time. Boys and girls, if you're watching this video, do hit the like button for sure. और मुझे comment करके बताइएगा मैम की इस inspiring story से तुमने क्या सीखा. And please feel free to give us feedback. What do you guys think about this podcast? If you guys want me to get more guests from the armed forces or linked with the armed forces, I'll be more than happy. Thank you for joining, boys and girls. See you in the comment section. Take care. Bye, ma'am. Thank you so much.